Hello, Serge here for the Backyard Driving Range. Okay, hope you can all see me in this white outfit here. Well, we have a combination of question and answer thing here with this email that just came in. And this email is from Scott Thompson. Scott Thompson is a professional golfer from England who is a Surgeite. And in fact, his father is Harry Thompson, who's a certified swing surgeon instructor who lives and teaches in Denmark. And so Scott, I worked with him a couple times when I was over there about a year ago, and he was down coming to one of our schools, helped us out, and was hanging around for me to work with him. And he's a very good golfer, big, strong, hits the ball well. So Scott wrote me this email the other day, so I'm going to read you what he wrote me, and then I'm going to read you my answer, and I'll say a little bit more about it afterwards. All right, this goes. Hi, Don. Hope this email finds you and your family all in good health. The weather here is starting to get a little better, so I am coming out of my cave and slowly hitting more course play instead of stuck either on a launch monitor indoors or on a freezing cold driving range. All seems to be doing well. Swing speed has started to creep up again, so quite happy with that. So one of my goals is to get back up to my old swing speed years ago, so working on flexibility and speed, and my reason for this is so when I'm up to speed I can easily then ease off and still be fast and powerful and in control without the feeling of lashing at it. That's right, most of the really big strong players, even when they're hitting drives 290, 300, 310s, a lot of times when they're out playing on tour condition golf courses where the fairways are quite hard and the grass is level, they're hitting it 290 in the air, and most of them are only swinging 70, 75, 80%. And that's why you could see every now and then when they get on those par fives that are like close to 600 yards, all of a sudden, boom, they get a 340 on it or a 350 because they got about another 20% back in their back pocket just sitting in reserve for them to flip the switch. And so most of us can't do that. We're not big enough and strong enough. Everything I swing is especially with a driver, is pretty close to what I would consider my top level, which is probably about 92 to 95% power. I don't have any more. The only way I get more is I get on a hole and I got a lot of wind at my back, and so I put it up in the air. That's when I'm going to get more. Okay, but a lot of these big guys, these big swingers with a lot of club head speed, they're playing with that reserve in their back pocket. All right, so Scott goes on to say, one thing I'm trying to work on, and I would love a little help, if you have any drills, is to hit the ball very high, and I just want to lower the launch slightly. Now, I know it's not down to the shafts, etc., as I tried them all. Again, he's been a professional on tour, and he can get clubs reshafted or anything he wants out there when he's playing those tours in Europe and things like that. And I think I'm obviously dynamically lofting it, so the club must be passing my hands before at impact. So he's asking me, he's saying that he's hitting the ball too high and he wants to lower it down, okay? I like your little drills and thought, as I am a little stumped, I am launching the 7-iron around 20-22 degrees, which is near a pitching wedge normally. If I am honest, I don't really give a hoot as long as the ball is going where I want it to. I've never been one to get caught up on numbers, but a few guys have said if I get it down to normal levels, that'll equal more distance and should be a bit lower and more arc shape, which would be nice. Appreciate your thoughts on this. Okay? So what they've just told his buddies have been telling him, or whoever he's talking, just chirping in his ear, they're telling him that if you lower the launch, the ball's going to go farther. Yes, only if you're hitting into the wind. But if you want distance, you got to put it up in the air. Like especially if you want to carry, say, a bunker out there or a lake out there, or go over the corner of trees. You don't hit the ball farther, hitting the ball lower. The only way it's going to go farther, keeping it lower, is if you're going to hit really hard fairways, it's going to run out. But in the end, when you want to talk distance, you're talking air time, all right? True distance is air time, and as long as the ball is penetrating and boring through the air, you're in good shape. So here's my answer to Scott. And you're going to see some of those words I just said. First off, PPGS hits the ball higher than most swings because we are just about the only golfers that are still behind the ball at impact and with both arms and extended straight. All right? Somebody really sent in an email recently and they asked me about everybody's telling me you got to de-loft the shaft in front and you got to have the shaft forward leaning and de-lofting it. And so What is that telling? That's what everybody's saying, because when you rotate and you get ahead of the ball, your shaft's going to automatically be ahead of the ball. We don't stop by rotating the shoulders. We stop by the lateral left bump, which creates the bow in the body. The head goes backwards. We're behind the ball at impact, so we square up at impact. So we're maintaining the true loft of the club. If I get my hands ahead and they're coming ahead, as soon as I do that, the club's being de-lofted. All right? So that's what I'm answering here. If the friends you are talking to are not Surgites but rotational swingers, they have no clue of the PPGS. As rotational swingers, they're ahead of the ball at impact doing what I call lag, drag, hold, block. They are, in effect, pushing the ball forward and de-lofting the club at impact, as they have a lot of forward shaft lean at impact. As you note, you are obviously creating dynamic lofting because, as I have said, we are behind the ball at impact, as well as taking shallower divots because we swing up to the tee finish rather than hit down as most golfers do. So if you're hitting down and have forward shaft lean, you're possibly even de-lofting the club more and getting the ball trapped on top. That's why a lot of these top players, you see them when they start getting down to the 8, 9 pitching wedge and wedges, where you got a lot of club face. You get on top of that ball, and you trap it too much. It pinches it into the ground and it can pop the ball right up, and you get yourself a nice flyer. That's why you see a lot of times these guys hit the balls over the greens on a flyer when they get down to short clubs now and then, especially out of the rough, because they can trap and the ball just flies. And if your high launch and loft of the ball is boring and penetrating through the air, holding the line, it is likely going a lot farther in the air than a lower trajectory. So when carry is needed, your balls will fly farther. Now, what you have to do is learn how to hit it low when you need to, and into the wind, or keep the ball low for more run when you want more run. So once you can hit it high, then it becomes learning how to hit it low. There's nothing wrong with hitting the ball high as long as it is penetrating and boring through the air, holding its line with all clubs, and as you say, you really don't care as long as it is going where you want it to. Lastly, if golfers you listen to are not Surgites and do not know and understand the PPGS, stop listening, as they don't know a PPGS, and this cannot understand and comprehend the difference between the PPGS swing creates in ball flight with normal swings. All right? Again, most of these guys, if they're getting ahead of the ball and they hit it up in the air where we did, and they got a little bit of cut across, and they get into a crosswind, that ball could just fluff nutter out over to the right like a little feather getting blown by the wind. And that's why they want to keep the ball low. They can't afford to put it up in the air, especially in crosswinds or into the wind, because it's just going to slap it around and slap it down, because they're hitting a ball when they're ahead and trapping it. Only way is if they really trap it and it comes out like a rocket, they might be okay into the wind. But when they hit hit shots that are relatively straight, have a little cut on them, and they catch into crosswinds, and say it's cutting a little bit and the wind's blowing that way, their ball could just fluff nutter off to the right, and as it's going this way, it's no longer going towards the target. Once it hits the rough, it's going to just sit right down, and they lose even more distance, and they're in the rough. So the whole key here is that again, we're on that side of the street, they're on that side of the street, and they got no clue where we're at, because all they can live by is what they've been told by their instructors and what they're learning and what they're doing, and it wouldn't take them long to see what we got and figure out that this is better, because when you hit it more solid and straight, put it in the air, got good penetration, it's boring and holding the line, and going to your target much more consistently, and missed shots are a lot tighter to your target, you're going to be hitting the ball much more consistently, solid and straighter, better misses, keep your ball in play, and you'll start hitting more fairways and greens and shooting lower scores. That's what it's all about. And you get that with PPGS, the body-friendly, 100% scientifically founded golf swing. That's it for today, and I'll be talking with you all again soon.